about hot coffee. You created a really incredible and amazing coffee shop right here in Atlanta in Grove Park. So let's talk about that. What is hot coffee?
So Hot Coffee is an e-commerce business for now. We're actually in the process of doing some site selection in Grove Park, but we're born and headquartered here in Grove Park. My partner and I, we talked about all of our travels all over the world. Oftentimes during the pandemic, we talk on the phone or when we could meet, we talk about all the travels that we did prior to the pandemic. But one of the things that we found in common with our travels were we always tasted coffee, no matter where we were, whether it was Cuba or Beijing or Israel. We tried coffee. In Morocco, wherever we were, wherever our travels took us, we talked about coffee and we had coffee. And so I was like, I drank so much during the pandemic and we had so many conversations over coffee. One day we just decided we should really consider starting our own coffee business. And what would that look like? The coffee market's pretty saturated. We knew that. But, it's also very complicated. And I don't know, Alyssa, if you drink coffee or, when you go into different coffee places or even in the grocery store, it's like, oh, they kind of taste like decadent desserts. But what I was looking for, and I think what he was looking for as well, is just a really good gourmet cup of coffee without all the complicatedness of trying to figure out which one to choose.
Right,
So that's
absolutely.
really how we got started. Yeah.
Incredible, incredible. Now, I do want to touch base. One of the things I noticed is you guys said your coffee is micro roasted 7 times more than any other
Yeah.
coffee on the market. So, how did you guys come up with 7 times more? What was it about the taste of coffee 7 times more roasted that you're like, this is it? So, why don't we start there
So
and kind of go from there?
yeah, perfect. So if people are kind of regular coffee drinkers, they get it from the grocery store. Coffee is really mass produced, it's mass roasted, so it doesn't necessarily give you the maximum flavor of what the bean is really roasted for, right? Most coffees are roasted 2 minutes. That's it. So we roast ours anywhere from 13 to 15 minutes longer. And it is really to seal in the flavor, to bring out everything all the tasting notes within the coffee, but it takes a little bit longer. So it's a slow roasting process and it's a small batch process. And that's because we really want people to taste the gourmet, taste the coffee. That's why they drink coffee. They want to taste it, not just to have a cup or to get the caffeine, but really enjoy the coffee and understand that we've done it so that it could truly be gourmet coffee.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I do want to ask this, with the coffee roasting process, I mean, I'm fairly familiar with, I guess, the alcohol distillation process. How similar or differing is this process for coffee in terms of, again, the roasting process? Like, how similar are the two processes and how it affects the taste and everything like that?
So it's not, I'm not necessarily familiar with the alcohol distillery or how alcohol is roasted. And I will tell you, we'll definitely come back and talk with you. We're looking at some different alcohol or liquor brands that we might want to do I guess some chemistry between the coffee and the alcohol. So I'll come back and talk about that at a later date. But it's really just one, sourcing the beans, right? Where to get the beans, where are the best beans grown. Our dark coffee is from Africa. Our light and medium comes from South America, so Costa Rica and those regions. But it's really about one, sourcing the right bean, and then when you source the right bean, the roasting process. If you're looking for a light roast, and most people don't know this, light roast coffee has the most caffeine. So it's not roasted as long as a medium or a dark. A dark or a decaf is roasted a lot longer because you're roasting pretty much most of the caffeine out of it, but you're still roasting it for flavor. So you put it in a big machine, I'm sure same as alcohol, and it roasts and it spins and it warms up until a particular degree for each of the particular roast. So the longer you roast, the less caffeine. The lighter the roast, the more caffeine. So most people think, oh, I want a dark roast. I love dark roast. It's fully caffeinated. They're not really coffee drinkers because the dark doesn't necessarily give you a lot of caffeine.
That is fascinating. So I want to circle back. You did talk about kind of your worldly travels and,
Yeah.
exploring the world. How did you and your business partner narrow down kind of all the places in the world we're going to pick coffee from these markets? How did you guys come up with this conclusion?
So, one of my favorite coffees is from Cuba. And we don't have a Cuban coffee, but I love Cuban coffee. I spent some time in Morocco. I had great coffee while I was in Africa, but coffee is actually originated from Africa. It is the birthplace of the coffee bean. Now, it's been, of course, taken and transferred to many different countries and roasted there. But when people think about coffee, most coffee connoisseurs know it comes from specifically Ethiopia. So our dark roast is actually an Ethiopian coffee. So it's the original birthplace of coffee, or the coffee bean. And then we tasted some great coffees in South America, Mexico, and so Costa Rica has some great beans as well. So we chose that, and we kind of just thought, what we went by taste, right? We tasted different beans, we tasted different regions, and we landed on those three. So coffee, again, you can taste it all over the world, but we thought we would stick with what we like the best and what we thought our customers might like as well.
That's awesome. So let me ask you this question then about coffee. I mean, I just like the cocoa bean, I guess it kind of doesn't look like anything. How do you
No.
know how somebody was like, I'm gonna crack this open and make a drink out of it? Like, do you know the history behind that at all?
I don't quite know the history, but I do know that it was birthplace in Ethiopia, and they took the bean and they roasted it like we do today, and then they poured, I believe it was either water or milk over. I think they poured water over it, and then they would drink it. And it wasn't necessarily for enjoyment purposes; it was almost medicinal for them initially, and
Yeah.
then it became just a traditional hot drink, a hot beverage drink, and so really just kind of now taken all over the world. Now, the one thing I will say is I also like it cold. So I will take the cold coffee and, I'll take our hot coffee and I use it, for iced coffee as well.
I think the only cold coffee I really like is like a mocha frappe, but
Yeah.
to be lame, I like the Burger King version, honestly. I think because I'm like I don't like when the frozen coffees have the strong coffee bean taste. I love sweet, so when
Yeah.
I drink a cup of coffee, I must pour like half a bag of sugar in there just because I'm like sweets. But yeah, I'm definitely I have a huge sweet tooth. So for me, like
I
coffee, it
do
doesn't
too.
matter how it tastes. I just pour so much sugar in it that it always ends up drowning out the taste, unfortunately.
Well,
But
it's funny.
oh, go ahead.
I have a sweet tooth too. So when I was little, I would eat coffee candy all the time, which is a very old time candy. My mom gave it to me, but I love the taste of coffee. But I certainly like when I was younger to have it sweet, which is why you see the whipped cream in my iced coffee. So
Yeah, I would just dip bread in my coffee, like sugar, mix it up. I would drink it after a while, but I'm like, bread, coffee, it's all good. Don't worry. But I do want to shift gears a little bit into
Sure.
the what makes your business stand out aside from it sounding like you're an incredible coffee connoisseur and you've got the tongue and the taste for it. But um, not only are you a minority owned coffee shop, but you are the first minority owned coffee retailer, excuse me, to accept crypto as your like major form of currency. And of course,
Yeah.
it's listed on your website that you accept credit cards, debit cards, cash, and everything else. But how did you come to this conclusion that, hey, let's open the door for crypto when it seems like, and I'm not super familiar with crypto, but it does seem
Yeah.
like it's such a, either people are like, oh, yeah, this is the future.
Unexplored.
Yeah. And then some
Yeah.
people are like, it'll never happen. So how did you guys kind of get to this stop and saying, this is the path we're going to take?
Yeah, so that was my business partner's idea, and I was totally on board. So as you just said, people are it's still kind of unexplored. Is crypto really the future or not? Well, we did some research on coffee drinkers. So in a particular age, baby boomers, the older generation Xers, they like coffee at home, which is why we have the e-commerce site. You can buy a coffee whole bean or ground. But everyone younger, millennials, zennials, everyone younger, they actually want very convenient cups of coffee. So they want to go somewhere and they want to get their coffee, which is why now we're looking at how do you, find a site selection for our coffee shop. Um, but we also thought the younger professionals who are drinking coffee, they're also into cryptocurrency. They're into NFTs. There is something different about being able to walk into a coffee shop or go online and pull out your Coinbase, cryptocurrency card and purchase whatever you want. Cryptocurrency is a currency. And most of the time, people are using cryptocurrency more for as a form of investment. They're investing, they're buying and waiting to see what happens, but nobody's actually using it as a liquid kind of fluid currency. It's a different way to shop. It's a different way to purchase what you need, and I think it is the future of being able to purchase what you need. And so we want to make sure that we take our coffee company into the future as well.
So before you opened your coffee shop, how familiar were you with cryptocurrency?
So not very familiar, and I wouldn't say we're still super like, smart when it comes to cryptocurrency, but we're listening every day to what's happening in the crypto space, from regulatory conversations to even what's happening from a security perspective, in the world economy. What does that look like? How do you engage with cryptocurrency? How does it relate to now the NFT, into the metaverse? What does that look like? And so we weren't very much, we're certainly, while we love coffee, we're still learning the crypto space, but we're learning the crypto space. And I think that's the most important thing. And I would tell your audience members as well, if you want to know more about crypto, just you gotta YouTube, you gotta, Google. It's so much information out there, but no one's kind of just giving you the information. You just gotta go find it and read it. And that's what we did. And we just felt like crypto was definitely the future of currency.
Yeah, it definitely, I will say this gives your business a unique edge to it because I think there is some I don't want to say elitistness with crypto, but yeah, like you're saying, it's not like there's somebody who's a financial expert who's offering a seminar on this is what cryptocurrency is, this is how you use it, like for the very basic beginner people who maybe are curious about it. And I mean, I've tried to kind of understand the crypto world just because I've been exposed to it just through scrolling through social media and hearing people talk about it. I'm like, what is
Yeah.
this? What is this? And it's hard to find information if you don't know what to look for. And it's hard to find reliable sources because it can feel overwhelming and like there's so many things like Bitcoin, Dogecoin,
Yeah.
like how do you
Ethereum, what does it look like? What's the all the different platforms?
yeah, and like how do
It's
you
a
then
lot.
at that point, and I don't even know if it's a silly question or not, but so if a cup of coffee is $1, but what does that equate to in cryptocurrency and like specifically down to each one? How does that work? And so it's really it's quite fascinating that you guys kind of took that route. And I'm definitely excited to see how you guys in some regards are shaping and changing the actual like economic market in that regards by
Yeah.
doing something like this. I don't think there are a lot of businesses that are incorporating cryptocurrency into how you can pay for things. And I don't know, it's such a fascinating, like my mind when I'm thinking about this, even when I was
Yeah.
taking my notes, I'm like, whoa, like
It is, right?
whoa, yeah,
It's
it's so fascinating.
Yeah, and as you think about more businesses and more retailers, small businesses, large businesses who will eventually start to accept cryptocurrency, and I believe that that is absolutely the future, and they will. How does that change our banking system? Right? We're
Yeah,
used to depositing money into the bank, and now you deposit money into your bank, and then you transfer it to your cryptocurrency platform, and then you have to get a debit card from your cryptocurrency platform. You use it, you swipe it. Like if you swipe it on our website, it then transfers that money into US dollars, right? So it's really interesting that and people will eventually have a crypto based bank account, where their direct deposits will go directly into their cryptocurrency accounts, right? So
right.
it's going to be really interesting to see over the next 5 to 10 years what the crypto market will be, as opposed to 10 years ago what the crypto market was. I mean, we started talking about crypto in 2014. I wish I probably would have been more active in the crypto market then, but certainly, it's the future, and I think that we need to, learn as much about it as possible.
You brought up an interesting point, and I just want to ask this one last question in the realm of crypto,
Mhm.
saying that people use crypto to purchase something, and then your bank account has to convert it back to US dollar, yen,
Well, the
euro,
Coinbase
whatever.
platform, yeah.
So
Mhm.
what's the breakdown then of like how much is a cup of coffee at Hot Coffee for crypto, and what does that kind of break down to for the average dollar amount? Like, if you don't mind me asking.
So what happens is you use your Coinbase. Coinbase cryptocurrency card. You go on our website. Let's just say you buy a bag of coffee to make the numbers round, $15, right? It's $15, 15 US dollars. So crypto will then decide, okay, what does that mean? So if you've got one cryptocurrency and it's worth $90, right? Or something like that to make the math easier, $100, you're not spending a whole cryptocurrency coin. You're only spending a portion or a percentage of that cryptocurrency coin. So they're only going to take a percentage of that coin and then make that, transfer that back into US dollars so that it can go back, so that it can be transferred to our business account, right?
Yeah, that is
So,
just so crazy. I'm
yeah.
like I said, I'm just like drooling at everything you're saying. I'm like, wow, that is so crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh. But that is incredible. That really is incredible. I gotta ask you this. What would you say is your favorite flavor from the hot coffee lineup?
So I like the light. So interesting. I like the light hot, but I'm actually drinking dark cold, so the iced coffee. My partner likes the decaf because he prefers decaf coffee, or he likes the dark. My nieces love the medium, so they're all really delicious, but hot for light, and then if I'm drinking iced coffee, I definitely go with the dark.
And what are some of the flavors people can find when they're drinking the coffee, like hazelnut, or is there like things like what are some of the flavors that
Yeah,
stick
so
out?
our flavor profiles are, for the dark, you're gonna find a dark cocoa and with a little bit of cherry, hints of cherry and caramel. With our light, it's gonna be also a caramel flavor in the profile. So the light, and actually, I'll tell you right now. So it's hints of honey and caramel and chocolate. And so again, it's really, really good. And the flavor profile I think we've chosen for each of the bean people, if you love coffee, you'll get all of that. So
Incredible. What would you say now that you've been in the coffee business? What are some alternative uses or products you've made out of your own
yeah.
product?
So my niece is an esthetician and a coffee face scrub, right? So she likes to sometimes use the ground coffee for that. But my sister is a chef, and she likes to do either coffee cheesecakes or chocolate coffee cookies. So we're always trying to like find ways to repurpose the coffee and get the same flavor from the coffee itself into some other product. So, and we're looking at other partners now here in Atlanta. How do we offer the coffee and to turn it into different products and partnerships? And so we're really excited about some of the people that we're working with.
That's incredible. So, how can people find hot coffee online, on social media? What's the handle so we
Yeah.
can get some hot coffee?
Yeah, thanks. So our website is www.lovehotcoffee.com, and that's the same as our handle. Our Instagram and our Twitter and our TikTok is also at Love Hot Coffee. So at Love Hot Coffee, and then we're doing pop-up shops all over Atlanta. There's a place right here in Grove Park called the Grocery Spot, and so we're doing some pop-ups there. So follow us on social media to know when we're going to be out there. The weather's going to be nice, so we may be there this weekend. And so we're always looking for other partners too, whether there's pop up things happening around the city or the metro area. We'd love to partner.
Incredible. And Katerina, how can people find you specifically if they want to hear
Yeah.
more about your story and everything you're up to?
So on Twitter, I'm at Cat Consults, and that's Cat with a K, at Cat Consults, and on Instagram, I'm at President Cat on Instagram. So would love to meet people, connect with them, and I'm also on LinkedIn under Katerina Taylor.
Fascinating. Awesome. Awesome. Is that going to be a potential future presidential bid one day? Is that why you reserved that handle?
No, it's funny. I was the first woman president of the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce a couple of years ago. And so I led that organization as the first woman president CEO for about 5 years. So I kept the handle. I liked it. So
It's powerful. It definitely, it's like, I'm a boss, don't mess with me. Like I've got it together. So that's a good one. That is definitely a good one. All right. Well, do you have any parting words or anything you want to share with us as the listening audience about hot coffee, or any words of wisdom?
Well, I won't leave you with an inspirational quote. I'll just say, drink more coffee.
Drink more
hot
coffee. I love it. I love it. I'll go make myself a cup of coffee right now. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And I am definitely excited to see what you guys are doing in the future. And it's definitely encouraged me to want to do a little bit more research in the world of crypto and seeing how businesses interact with that.
Yeah, and I'll send you some coffee.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Alyssa.
Thanks so much. Bye.